Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in a game between nAni and Naama here on Blistering Sands. I hope you guys enjoy the game. I know I will, as you guys are watching it alongside me. And now, I've been reading the comments recently and someone actually finally said something that made sense. I don't need to sound excited about what's happening in the early part of the game. I don't need to sound excited about probes mining away, holding those minerals in their mouths or their little claws or whatever. I just need to be more entertaining. So hopefully I will try to work on my entertainment a little bit more, not my entertaining, my entertainment. And now we have Mouse Naama spawning on the north side of the map as the red Terran player. Meanwhile, we have nAni spawning as the yellow Protoss player. I wonder if nAni knows that his name means what in Japanese. So it's kind of, it's probably weird to have a guy named what in your own natural language. You're like, what? What's what doing? But yeah, so it must be really, really strange. It's like who's on first, what's on second. So nAni currently just chrono boosting his Nexus over here, should be able to set up a 13 gateway and then move along very, very well. Now Terrans know in advance that they are going to lose for sure, so they chat. So Naama and nAni doing a little bit of playful talking back and forth at the early portion of this game. We now see Naama pretty much opening up with a standard build, deciding to build his racks rather far away from the ramp just because it allows that SCV to go back into mining much earlier. And where is that SCV? Oh, there it is. The SCV mining back much earlier. Also, you see an SCV on the move and will be able to make it across the map in just a moment. So Naama having a little bit more fun in this game so far. Naama and nAni have, you know, a pretty decent cordial relationship. I don't know, did I use the word cordial right? A decent friendly relationship. Platonic, I guess, in this game, and I need to stop my banter. I don't even know exactly what I'm talking about. We now see a Marine being trained up as well, and will be coming off over here in just a moment. The probe still getting plenty of sight though, but it cannot stay in that base for very long, as that Marine will be able to pop out and shoot down that one probe. The probe does move faster than the Marine, so it will be able to escape. But the probe also does, the Marine does also have a decent range attack, so it does allow him to cut a little bit better corners. And now in comes that, or the Marine now coming down that ramp, that probe is going to be forced to run away. And now back over here, we do see that Cybernetics core, and a second assimilator is down. So I expect nAni to go for very, very higher tech units. We may see a Stargate, we may see a robotics facility. Those are the two natural options at this point in the game here on Blistering Sands. Observers from that robotics facility, very, very important. Also, Void Rays are strong as well, as Void Rays are able to take down destructible rocks very, very easily. So, and perhaps we'll see a 4-gate, perhaps we'll see a 3-gate with a Stargate, and those Void Rays trying to destroy the rocks, enabling them to get up that ramp rather quickly. We do see what a barracks currently double training Marines off of a reactor now, so that will help Naama tremendously if there is any Void Ray play, but no real strategy and nothing really revealing coming in from nAni just quite yet. Only 2 gateways. If he does go for an additional 2 gateways, he should be able to do a decent 4-gate, but with the number of sentries he's training, I expect that he may be trying to go for an expansion sometime soon. Or at least perhaps going to a 4-gate a little bit later. Sentries, when you get them this early in the game, it normally means A, you want to save your minerals up in order to be able to get a Nexus, or you're going to get some additional gateways, and those sentries, which are out so early, are able to get a lot of energy stored up on them, and then they're able to use a lot of force fields. Sentry is obviously very, very useful against Marines, as they're able to reduce the amount of damage from 6 down to 4, or 5 down to 3, depending on if the unit has natural armor anyways. But we now see a Nexus coming into play, so it is going to be an earlier Nexus. So Nexus coming in, and you can take a look at the army sizes. You can see that on Mineral, Naama and nAni about the same, 350 versus 300. The real true difference is the amount of gas that nAni's army is. It's currently sitting at 400 gas with those 4 sentries there. So that does go to show you that nAni does have a higher tier army at this stage in the game, and now finally going into a robotics facility. And taking a look at the base of Naama may be trying to go for, Banshees. I thought he was going to actually train up a Raven, but no, going for Banshees and also getting siege tanks. So this is not standard play by any means. Perhaps the Banshees are going to try to be incorporated into the army more than just used for cloak harassment. A lot of Terran players and in the past have just used Banshees to try to harass mineral lines with that cloak, and then after that window is, you know, closed, after there are observers and phoenixes in the air, I often don't see enough Banshees in play, enough Banshees being used and incorporated with an army. Banshees do have a higher DPS than Vikings, and they are decent against Colossus. The only thing that is lacking is that they do not have the same amount of range. Another barracks now being placed down here. Not quite sure why he just didn't react or barracks swap here in order to start that research on the concussive shells, stim pack, or concussive cells, stim pack, or combat shield. We now, oh, Bumblebee, the leader of Mouse, has just left the game. We now see a Banshee on the move out, and it looks to want to get some kills. We also now see that Raven that I was talking about earlier. That Raven will be able to save up a lot of energy, and this Banshee without cloak is just here for harassment. It is just more of a scouting force, and now, ooh, 2 probes have been taken down, and more probes will get taken down as well. Yes, another probe now taken down. 4 sentries coming in order to try to shoo it away, and Naama didn't really invest too heavily in this Banshee. I like this one Banshee play. Normally, if you go for early Banshees, you get that cloaking research. It's rather difficult, as it's difficult to get the mileage out of that one early Banshee. This Banshee has paid for itself in minerals just because it was able to take down 3 probes. If the cloaking research was researched, and if the cloaking field was researched, then it would need an additional 4 kills there. And now the Banshee coming back in, getting more kills once again, as there was an engagement here, and now those Stalkers being forced to run all the way home, as that Banshee up to 6 kills already and now able to retreat. So nicely done once again, getting a lot of probe kills there. Back over here, we now have a siege tank. No siege tech just quite yet. A medevac and now a Raven in the air. The Raven does not have enough for enough for a point defense drone, but it was able to detect that cloaked observer there. And now we see a robotics bay coming in from nAni. So nAni is going to have a robotics bay with most likely Colossus. He could be getting the robotics bay for observer speed, but that would be a rather strange use of an observer. And now we see that observer in the air. Was it able to spot? Yes, I believe it was able to gain sight a little bit on this one medevac. The army already moving back, and now we still have this one Banshee hitting over here. So Naama most likely is going to try to harass with this Banshee while harassing with this medevac, perhaps trying to split up this medevac army. And now there are a couple Stalkers and Immortals there, and now this one medevac is just going to drop straight into the back here, while the front door is also being attacked as well. So 3 action going on 3 places at once. Stalkers and Marines now trying to fight back over here. The Banshee now getting some damage. No, unable to, as the main force now walking in over here. But a lot of damage is being dealt by these Marines. Marines now trying to take down this one Immortal. Immortal is taking a lot of damage, but now using that stim, able to take down that Immortal there. Down it goes. And now there is Zealots over here, not really doing much, and now gonna siege. No, not siege, just simply attack an elevator up onto that high ground. There is a lot of units over here, so that is gonna be a problem. But in comes some auto turrets. So auto turrets now being dropped in as well. Those auto turrets are gonna be able to deal a fair amount of damage, stopping the gas there. And now in comes this Banshee for even more kills. So very, very nicely done by nAni. nAni doing a great job. My Naama doing a great job using auto turrets, using siege tanks, even out of siege mode, in order to get a lot of harassment in on this one particular expansion here. In comes the Banshee. The Banshee may get a kill onto that Stalker. Yeah, the Stalker quickly now trying to turn around, trying to take down the Banshee, but the Banshee is now coming in, and the Banshee now trying to come back in. The sentries will be able to catch underneath this auto turret, will get taken down. And wow, Naama in a very, very strong position right now, as he has the stronger economic lead, was able to get a lot of harassment in, and also has a stronger standing army. Zealots and sentries, though, will be able to get down a lot of force fields, so that may become a problem. The Stalker was able to get one kill there, finish off that Banshee, and now Naama needs to reconsider what he wants to do in this push. Siege tank, siege tech, and is finally completed. There is 1 medevac in the air, 2 Vikings in the air to go alongside it, and 1 Raven. That 1 Raven getting 5 kills. And now a Marauders and Marines are on the move. 1 Marine perhaps going to sit outside this front door here. As siege tanks are now being placed down, Naama going to be in a little bit of trouble, I believe. Sorry, nAni going to be in a little bit of trouble as these Immortals and now Colossus now coming in. So yeah, a bunker now trying to be placed down, but this is going to be a lot of damage to be had. Colossus quickly takes down this over here. We do see a lot of damage. Zealots now running straight in. The point defense drone is in the air. Marines now trying to fight back as well. Force fields preventing any of those Marauders from getting in on that action, or the fighting Stalkers need to take down that 1 Viking. That Viking getting a lot of damage onto the Colossus here. Both sides just exchanging armies. But Naama, in superior positioning, even though he has to deal with force fields, is able to push that attack back. Is that blue goo? Wow. I didn't think that Stalkers actually had blue goo. I thought that was a Dragoon thing. Anyways, we have Marauders and Marines once again coming back in over here. Colossus will be able to take that down very, very easily. Siege tanks now going to start to slowly push their way in, but they have to be careful about this Colossus with a range of 9. That range of 9 Colossus should be able to get a lot of damage. Once again, Marauders trying to come back in, not able to successfully. Siege tanks still getting plenty of damage. Not that many kills, but a lot of damage has been dealt. As more units are coming in to bring up the rear for Naama. Naama transferring in a lot of Marauders and a lot of Siege tanks. Oh, very, very high production value. Finally, Zealot charge is being researched, but it may be too little, too late. Especially as there is one Viking just sitting off to the side, now trying to come in. And now a lot of damage will be dealt across multiple Siege tanks. Siege tanks trying to get some damage in. However, those Siege tanks will simply get cleaned up. Zealots taking a lot of that damage there. And now in come Colossus. Oh, very nice. The Marauders... The Colossus now is standing far away from those force fields, making sure not to take them down. They are able to barrel through them now, and now more damage is still being dealt. The medevac low on hit points, down to 18, unable to unload its cargo in time. And now Naama moving over towards the back door in order to take down this destructible rocks here, and will be able to walk up that ramp. No weapons upgrade, which is a surprise, especially coming in from the Protoss player, as what upgraded Colossi. The Colossi do have level 1 upgraded weapons attack, so that is going to be a significant amount of damage it is able to deal against these units here. And now Naama, by taking down this back door here, now going to perhaps try to pressure the front door once again. The Colossus are revealed and now going to move out once again. The siege tanks may try to siege up on that low ground or just try to elevator drop up. Once again, no one taking a third base. This is a bit of a surprise, as there are siege tanks and Marines attempting to take down this assimilator. Assimilator will get taken down. Medevac going to do another elevator drop. More units are being just unloaded out of the sky, but in comes from the backside nAni with a lot of units, and now all of those Marines and Marauders are out of position. Guardian Shield, Zealots with Zealot charge, and now a lot of damage is being dealt. Well, there is currently one Viking in the air, and now the Zealots are on the wrong side of the cliff as the Colossus are trying to come in. Down goes that one Viking here, but really the Colossus are getting a lot of damage in across the board, and now the armies have been neutral or even, but the Nexus has been taken down. Medevac is getting shot down as well. One Medevac down, a second Medevac could have been taken down. Not quite sure why those Stalkers didn't decide to shoot it down. One more shot or two more shots and it would have been neutralized, but now Naama running off of 2 bases and now trying to take up a third. nAni is in serious trouble as he's doing the walk of shame in order to do some long distance mining. Yeah, in order to do some long-distance mining, we now see Colossus and Zealots on the move. Siege tanks, Marines, SCVs are trying to absorb as much damage as possible, perhaps trying to stop some of those Zealots. The Zealots do have a much larger army income-wise. There's a pretty good discrepancy there, as Naama is mining about 400 minerals extra per minute. More Colossi now coming in, so 4 Colossi against these siege tanks and Marines, and we do have the Guardian Shields now coming in, and now Colossus need to push through together and getting a lot of damage across the board. Vikings trying to finish down many of those Colossus. The Colossus are getting focused now one at a time. SCVs now coming off the mineral line, and these 3 Colossi are not going to be able to deal that much damage, especially as the Vikings are now giving chase. If these Colossus get taken down, the army of nAni is pretty much gone, as one Colossus will get taken down. A second Colossus should get taken down in just a second, but in come some Stalkers now. Stalkers trying to get some damage, will be able to, yes, take down one of those Vikings, but one Viking for one Colossus, not a fair trade by anyone's standards. Another Nexus is currently being warped in. nAni needs to rebuild this and now perhaps try and wait to see if he can establish a third base. The third base of Naama is not yet upgraded to a planetary fortress, just training some, no, it looked like he was training up some SCVs, but decided not to, and now moving over with a very, very large force. This backdoor rocks here will allow Naama to defend and attack almost simultaneously. The same thing could be said though. nAni could attack very easily while getting reinforcements, so this is always a double-edged sword when you try to take down these rocks. You do give easier access for your opponent to make their way out into the field, but at the same time easier access into the field, but at the same time you're able to attack and defend at the same time. So Vikings now in the air, as I accidentally hit the Windows key, let me turn that off. Vikings, Medevac, Siege Tanks, Army 2900 versus 1925. Still fairly even. One Zealot just simply needs to charge up that ramp and trying to get some damage onto that Marine. That Marine playing run around the Xel'Naga watchtower, getting damage, but I believe that Zealot will be able to catch up to him and finally slice it down. In comes a drop over here. Naama gonna simply drop and then stim straight into the base. Perhaps he should be going in for pylons as opposed to just a forge that isn't doing anything at all. In comes some reinforcements. Mini Colossus will be able to take that down. And yeah, Naama really losing out on that fight, especially as that he's gonna lose the medevac and all of its precious cargo. 3,500 versus 2,450. Zealots still being trained. Colossus now being added once again. And it is going to be essentially 2 base play or 2.5 base play versus 1 base play, as the main bases have already been mined out. Vikings are in position. 1 Zealot, perhaps going to try to Zealot charge. Yes, going to Zealot charge up onto that ramp. Able to take down 1 siege tank. Very, very nice there. So 1 Zealot for 1 siege tank, always a decent trade. But Vikings are on patrol in pursuit of those Colossus. The Colossus now trying to walk around this one particular sensor tower, but I believe the range is just perfect. The Zealots and those Stalkers perhaps could have walked in a single file line if that sensor tower was 1 position off. We now see this Venn diagram, double circles here, and now in come the Zealots. Zealots now trying to come in, trying to get a lot of damage. No Psystorm though, so Colossus against that pure infantry army, and now both sides dealing damage back and forth, and many of the Vikings have been shot down. So all the Vikings are gone. Zealots are now giving chase once again. Naama in full retreat. Vikings now need to get some more damage. SCVs coming off the mineral line. And this was just a beautiful play by nAni. In comes that 1 force field there, preventing any units from being able to walk down this ramp. Naama going to lose this expansion. And if he drops another force field, he may be able to once again delay anything else. We do see 1 sentry. Oh, sentry venturing a little bit too far, straight in range of that siege tank there. You can see the poor remnants of that crater of where he was. Viking now once again trying to micro its way in, unable to get enough damage onto that 1 Colossus. And now the Stalkers are pulling away, perhaps to try to take down Naama's planetary fortress here. nAni in a very, very dominant position now, even as both players are now running off of 1 base, but nAni is in a better position. We do not see any force fields along this backside, so that is a bit of a concern for me, as those Marauders and Marines are now going to be coming in. In comes a Guardian Shield, nicely done. And that Guardian Shield reducing the amount of damage, adding additional 2 armor across the board. Siege tanks are the only thing that can really hit through. Marines not doing that much damage at all. And now Naama is going to say, no, Naama does not say GG. Naama just simply leaves the game. So yeah, nAni taking this game here on Blistering Sands. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. A quick recap on the game. nAni played really, really well. I thought he was behind for the middle portion of it, but really a couple critical fights. And after replacing that Nexus, he was able to get back into that game very easily. Naama, perhaps he should have tried to take this low ground expansion here. A little bit easier to defend, as opposed to this expansion here, as all the reinforcements were able to come in. The Colossus were able to walk down this backdoor ramp, and also some Zealots were able to walk in through here as well, and just reinforce that attack, making it very difficult for Naama to get to hold this particular line of resources. But the critical fight was that Naama never got enough Vikings in order to deal with the Colossus presence. There was always a decent number of Colossus. Once nAni had 3 to 4 Colossus continually throughout the game, Marauders and Marines were simply falling too quickly. Even with Stimpack, those Marauders and those Marines can, I believe, travel three frames, so a Colossus would be able to get almost 2 swipes in, killing many of the Marauders and almost all of the Marines by the time they were even within combat range. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between nAni and Naama.